So, week 2, we're going to keep your warm-ups and your cool-downs the same. So those should be pretty straightforward. If you forgot what the warm-ups were, they're still listed on the spreadsheet. And you can go back and you can reference those videos from the week before. So the warm-ups, the activations, the footwork, and the cool-down will all remain the same. However, we do want to add a little bit of intensity and some diversity to the workouts. So, if you remember back to week 1, our workout was hand release push-ups, sit-ups, and air squats. That was our workout. This week, we're going to change it up just a little bit, adding some weight and some complexity. So instead of doing 5 rounds for time, we're going to do 6 rounds for time. And instead of doing our push-ups, our sit-ups, and our air squats, we're going to modify those movements just a little bit to add some difficulty. So instead of doing regular push-ups like we did on week 1, we're going to do something that we call under the fence push-ups. So we're going to kind of be almost in a downward dog position. I'm going to rock forward with my chest, put my head underneath the fence, and rock up. While I'm doing that, I'm trying to keep my torso and my core off the ground. And then I'm going to back up under the fence. So the workout this week is going to be 4 under the fence push-ups. Instead of doing our sit-ups in week 2, we're going to do leg lifts. So you guys can do these a couple of different ways. I prefer to do my leg lifts with some support underneath my neck. We can bring the knees up with our leg lifts, or we can add some intensity and keep the legs nice and straight. So you guys have the option with your leg lifts. So we have 8 leg lifts in week 2. And then instead of air squats, we're going to do some goblet squats. Now you guys can do these with a kettlebell, or you can do them with a dumbbell. And they're basically going to work exactly the same. So I want to keep that right up underneath my chin. The same standards apply for the squat. So you want the feet basically right up underneath the hips. Remember, I'm going to send those hips down and back. I want to try to get that hip crease below the knee, and then I can come right back up. So we've got some goblet squats with a kettlebell or a dumbbell, but the same standards apply as the air squat. For week 2, we're adding some intensity and some complexity, and we're going to modify from burpees to what we call line-facing burpees. And in the CrossFit community, this would really be a bar-facing burpee. So the only change in week 2 is instead of just simply dropping to the ground, touching the chest and thighs, coming up and touching above the head, I want you guys to put a little tape mark on the ground. You could use duct tape, you could use a string, I don't know, maybe in your basement there's a crack in the floor, whatever works easiest for you. But we're going to do a burpee facing the line. Remember, I can either step up or I can hop up. And then what I want you to do is plant a foot, and we're going to jump and spin. So now I'm facing the line. I'm going to do my other burpee, jump and spin. So remember, in week 1, we just had regular burpees. Week 2, we're going to have line-facing burpees. Last week, we did Russian kettlebell swings, which with a bell or a dumbbell, we brought the bell right up in front of our eyes. So focusing on that good hinge pattern, letting the bell or the dumbbell come between the legs, keeping that back nice and flat. Instead of doing Russian swings this week, we're going to do American swings. And nothing changes except now I'm going to take the bell or the dumbbell all the way overhead. Same principles apply. Hips go down and back. weight comes between the legs, and I finish all the way over the head. The caveat to this is I don't want to hyperextend my back to get the bell or the dumbbell overhead. Still want to keep that belly nice and tight, focusing on that good hinge, except now when I swing, I'm going all the way overhead. And then the last movement, if you remember back to week 1, we just did regular lunges. This week, I want you guys to try to do some weighted lunges. So dumbbell, kettlebell, heavy bottle of water, it really doesn't matter. You guys can hold these in the front rack position. You can do them in the suitcase position. Some of you guys might even feel comfortable doing them in the front rack position. But we're going to do some weighted lunges this week. Same principles are going to apply. You want those knees to be about 90 degrees in the front, 90 degrees in the back. I think I've given you guys 10 of them. So what I would recommend is if you're using a weight this week, 5 in one arm. Remember, you guys can step back or you can step forward. Switch the sides. Same thing for the front rack, suitcase carry, 5 on each arm, but you're still going to alternate legs. And I think our last movement, we have our regular line hops or jump rope as well. The third and final workout this week, again, we're kind of building on the previous week. So week 1, we did our tuck jumps. We did our kettlebell or dumbbell sumo deadlift high pulls or sumo deadlifts. And then we did our plank toe taps. So this week, I'm going to ask you guys to add a little bit of complexity and weight to your movement. So now, instead of just doing a simple tuck jump, I want you guys to do your tuck jump laterally over the line or the crack or wherever you have it in the floor. So we have lateral tuck jumps this week in workout 3. Then we're going to go to a single arm sumo deadlift or deadlift. So last week, remember we had you guys coming all the way down, back nice and flat, all the way up, either with a kettlebell or a dumbbell. This week, I want you to try to do it with one arm. So same principles apply. Hips going down and back. Back's going to be nice and flat. Chest is going to be tall. If I do my deadlifts, I'll be right here in between my feet. If I'm going to go with the sumo deadlift high pull, I'm going to finish with that elbow high and outside. And the handle is going to be right up underneath the chin. So we're going to single arm. Same thing there though as workout 2. We're doing 12 reps, so I want you to go 6 on each arm. So if you're going with the deadlifts, we'll go 6 in one arm, and we'll go 6 in the other arm, just adding some weight and some complexity. And then, instead of our plank toe taps this week, we're going to do plank reach throughs, either with a dumbbell or a kettlebell. So if you guys remember back to last week, when we were in this plank position for workout 3, I was having you push up and back, and you were reaching through and touching the opposite toe. This week, I'd like for you guys to try to use a weight. So again, if you have a dumbbell, use a dumbbell, heavy water bottle, whatever works for you. We're going to start with the dumbbell on one side of our body. So I'm holding the plank. I'm going to reach through and under, and then move the dumbbell or the kettlebell to the opposite side. When you guys are doing that, I want you to try to keep the shoulders square and the hips square to the floor. So if we're in this plank position, I don't want you to rotate and contort your body. Keep the shoulders and the hips nice and square, and then pull the dumbbell through. So remember, this week, warm-ups, activations, footwork, and cool down all remain the same. The only thing that's going to change is the workout. where we're adding a little bit more weight and a little bit more complexity to your movements. Good luck.